everybody. I love the post-apocalyptic genre. It's honestly a lot like the fantasy genre in that you can get away with just about anything and tell any story that you want. You're able to take the world that we know today, and through whatever story you come up with for the apocalypse, break off whatever pieces of modern society that you want, throw them away, keep whatever pieces you want, and then add on whatever pieces you want. It's really, you have almost unlimited freedom working within that genre, and yet it's still a shape that we can recognize because it has pieces of what we know in it. One of my favorite TV shows is a TV show called Jeremiah, which deals with a virus that wipes out everybody over the age of puberty in the world in the course of a couple weeks. And then 18 years later, the show starts, which it's a great premise and it's a lot of fun to play with. One of my favorite movies, you might have been able to figure out, there it is over there, is Road Warrior, post-apocalyptic film. Also a great film. You can barely see it over there, but it's the Six-String Samurai. We'll adjust you a little bit. See? Six-String Samurai. Also a brilliant film. Even Tank Girl is a movie I really enjoy. But I have a poster for Tank Girl. It hangs up in my closet where nobody else can see it. The whole thing is a metaphor for how I feel about Tank Girl, where it's a really good guilty pleasure for me and I enjoy it. I enjoy it so much that I got the poster, but I don't really need anybody else to see that I enjoy it that much, so the poster lives in the closet. And I'm not saying that every post-apocalyptic film or book or whatever is great. I mean, we did have Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. But by and large, it's a fantastic genre, and it's fun to play in it. So, let's take a look at today's example and decide, is it a Mad Max 2 or a Mad Max 3? This is Hell Comes to Frogtown. War never changes. There was a massive... I can't do that voice for very long. There was a massive nuclear war. Most of the people in the world are sterile. A large chunk of them died. And some of the remaining people have been mutated into frog-like creatures. Just go with it, okay? We open with our hero, Sam Hell, played by Roddy Piper. And he's been arrested for raping a young girl. Why does it feel like the last 3 reviews have a theme? Anyway, the young girl's father happens to be a local military person, so he was caught and he's in real trouble. That is until some female medical officers show up claiming they want Sam, because it turns out Sam's been sexing his way across the wasteland and leaving a trail of babies wherever he goes. He is literally the most fertile man alive. And we're going to address this real quick, because we are not doing another Revenge of the Nerds scenario here. I am not going to spend this entire movie talking about rape. It's just not happening. The doctor announces that the girl instantly retracted the rape claim when she found out she was pregnant. I am going to guess that she called rape because her dad found out and she didn't want to get in trouble. In real life, I would believe the victim until there was proof otherwise. But for the sake of this fictional movie, with made-up people and made-up characters, this is the course I have decided to take. I have decided to not believe her claim, because I don't want to spend the next hour and a half with a rapist as my main character, okay? It's a fake movie. I'm allowed this one. Sam's just a sex god, and it's fine. The women reassign Angry Father to Border Patrol and claim Sam for themselves. Right now, it's the goal of every country in the world to repopulate as fast as possible so that they can get back to a world war and conquer the world. Sam is going to be the USA's secret weapon. They strap Sam into a special chastity belt. We're told it has a flap so he can perform his duties, but it also has a tracking device, a shocking device, and a bomb. So if he tries to take it off, it will blow up his penis. So they just keep him in this compound and bring him women, and that's our movie, right? It's just a series of scenes of Roddy Piper having sex with women to get them pregnant. Nope. That's not how medtech works. See, they get their fertile men to go cruising the wasteland with a couple of bodyguards searching for fertile women to knock them up wherever they are. This is the dumbest part of the movie. Fertile men are rare. Sam is especially rare because he's super fertile. Why wouldn't you want to protect them? Instead, they say it's great that he's super fertile, and they know he can protect himself because they're going to send him out into the wastes, and he's going to have to... Why not bring the women to him? Send out a literal army of female soldiers or sterile men soldiers, whatever, to go out in the wasteland, find fertile women, bring them back to have sex, get impregnated, and then release them into the wild. Why do you find a fertile man? He's your secret weapon. You do everything you can to protect his penis, and then say, go out there and try not to get it shot off. So what's his first mission? Well, apparently, over a year ago, a group of fertile women were taken hostage by the leader of the mutant frogs. His name is Toady. And they're being held in Frogtown. So MedTech is sending Sam, a lady soldier, and a lady doctor to go in and get them so Sam can knock them up. Okay. It's been a year? It's been 18 months, actually. Why do you think they're still alive? What have you been waiting for? Why send such a small team? Why send the fertile dude? Go get the women, bring them back. The first thing our heroes need to do is cross the border, so of course, the border crossing guard is Angry Dad, who stated earlier in the movie he would take any chance he could to kill Sam. Gosh, if only they could have seen this coming. They assigned an angry guy to a border crossing that they knew they were going to have to go through in order to get to the wasteland, which they knew they were going to make Sam do, and they knew the guy was going to want to kill Sam. Good planning. Anyway, they point a giant gun at him and he lets him go. It's during his first attempt to get away from the women of MedTech that he learns how the shocking system works. If he gets too far away from Lady Doctor, it starts electrocuting him. She can also locate it and control it with her earrings. So, the greatest lover in the land has been given a job of just sexing the womenfolk. And the first thing he wants to do is get the hell out of there. Let's be fair. Maybe he just doesn't want to go to Frogtown. So, maybe he is totally cool with sexing all the ladies and just doesn't want to go to Frogtown. It's too early to judge. That night, Lady Doctor very obviously and awkwardly tries to seduce him, which he refuses to give in to. So she tries even harder. So he goes ahead and grabs her, at which point she gets super offended and starts shocking his junk.
Maybe not.
Turns out, she only meant to tease him to keep him in a state of arousal so he'll become extra fertile. I hate to belabor this point, and I'm going to try to stop bringing it up after this. I am. I'm going to try. If it's important that you keep him aroused and fertile, don't take him on the dangerous mission into enemy territory. When people start shooting bullets at me, I don't feel very aroused. Now, fellas, I don't want you to worry. B movies like this are legally required to show at least one pair of boobs. So, Lady Soldier whips them out so she can spend a night of passion with Sam. Sure, she's infertile, but she wants some lovin', and infertile girls aren't apparently allowed to get a lot of lovin'. Now, Sam, she has heard, is a world-famous lover. So she is very excited to get this chance. And he spends a significant amount of time trying to talk her out of it. I'm not as good as you've heard. I don't think this is a good idea. Listen, maybe not. You know, I'm just not feeling it. Finally, as she's literally on top of him and grabbing him under his flap, he gives in. Only for them to be interrupted by Lady Doc and her shock earring, and then everybody just goes to bed. The following night, they find a fertile girl who's escaped from Frogtown. Lady Doc says it's very rare to find a fertile girl in the wastelands. Then what is the point of the missions of bringing fertile men out here if finding the fertile women is rare? The woman does not want anybody to touch her because she's been a victim of Frogtown, and later we'll learn how horrifying that can be. So Lady Doc wrestles with her and injects her with a bunch of drugs to put her in a loving mood, and then tells Sam to get to work. Sam hates this idea. I mean, he really hates it. And in fact, the only reason he finally does it, well, we'll get to why he does it, but I appreciate him being reluctant to pounce on the poor girl. I do. But this is the third time so far he's just been offered sex in this movie, and the third time he's tried to get out of it. He's famous for leaving a trail of pregnant women across the wasteland. He is renowned as a lover of women, and the first time we met him, he was arrested for rape. But every time somebody has showed up and said, "Hey, sailor, how about some sex?" he tries to get out of it. What the hell is going on with this character development? Anyway, to try and convince him to get into the mood, Lady Doctor does a super awkward striptease. In fact, it is so awkward and uncomfortable. Sam finally ends up agreeing to have sex with the girl just so she'll stop and feel better about herself. Like, yeah, good job, honey. You turned me on. I'm gonna go do my duty. I'm gonna go flip the flap. No, don't strip tease no more. No, you got me. I am so horny right now. I'm just gonna. You're good. Whoo! You're good. I'm gonna go. Now, Lady Doctor has a plan for them to infiltrate Frogtown. Sam will treat her as a slave. They'll dress her up. He'll walk in like he's caught this slave and go into town to trade her. She'll get into Toadie's harem, and then apparently they'll fire a flare for Soldier Lady to come in and get him out. There are so many flaws with this plan, but nobody seems to address any of them. And here's just a couple to start. How are you sure you'll end up as Toadie's slave in Toadie's harem? Once you're in his harem, how do you plan to escape with the women? What's Sam supposed to do while you're in there? And since you don't know the layout of anything, how are you sure you can get the women from the harem to a place where they can get onto the escape vehicle without everybody getting killed? Guess we'll find out. Lady Doctor tells Sam that if her earrings are removed, the chastity belt will explode, and reminds him that if he gets too far away, the shock system will go off. Okay. What if they decide that slaves don't get to wear jewelry? That doesn't sound unreasonable to me, that they would strip a slave completely naked so they don't have any personal possessions, so that they would lose sense of identity and self. Like, I wouldn't be surprised. And you're telling me you don't have a plan for that? If they say, "Take those earrings off," Sam's junk just explodes. Okay, another one. Since he's going to sell you as a slave, what if it turns out Toadie's harem is a significant distance away from wherever Sam's allowed to be? Then he's just going to be writhing in agony, unable to do anything to help your plan. No? Nobody's objecting to this? While in Frogtown, Sam runs into an old friend named Looney. He will matter briefly in the plot, which is why I'm mentioning him. But for now, he gives us a hint that somebody is buying a lot of uranium from a secret mine in Frogtown. Honestly, since you're not watching the movie, it might not have the same effect, but by the time the reveal of this is made and we find out what that little hint is about, it has been so long and it is so out of left field that you forget about this hint. It's put here so that what happens later seems logical, but it's so far disconnected from it that you forget it happened. Anyway, you'll see. Trust me. Have I ever let you down? Sam is in the middle of selling Lady Doctor as a slave to a random frog. I'm not sure how that's part of the plan, because don't you want her to go to Toadie's harem? Wouldn't selling her just a random frog be a problem? Anyway, Toadie's main henchman shows up and buys her instead at a much lower price than he was going to get. It's one of those, I'll bid 5 lilies. Will anybody outbid me? I didn't think so. And you know what? I'm going to admit, these frog effects aren't terrible. I mean, you can see they're not, cutting edge side but the mouths move and the detail on the masks is pretty impressive. It's better than I was expecting it would be. It's clearly not, what we're going to see in a modern summer blockbuster, but good job. Anyway, Sam gets knocked out by henchmen who steals Lady Doctor, and Sam is then nursed back to health by a frog lady who agrees to help him save the Lady Doctor in exchange for, you guessed it, one night of that famous Sam passion. Sam convinces her to wear a bag over his head because it's a kinky fetish of his, and then starts to sneak away while she can't see when his crotch starts beeping, and he realizes they've got to get him back in range of the Lady Doctor real quick. Lady Doctor finds herself in the harem where the other human women are working on making her aroused and passionate with vapors and incense and massages so that she can be so aroused and passionate that she can survive the dreaded dance of the 3 snakes. And if you think you've figured out what the 3 snakes are, you're probably right. Meanwhile, Henchman has captured Sam and is going to cut off his chastity belt, because medtech equipment is very valuable in Frogtown, and Sam's crotch isn't. Sam tries to explain that if the henchman cuts it off, it'll explode, and Henchman points out really what we've all been asking up to this point.
It's wired to blow! Medtech wouldn't be stupid enough to wire a potent male.
You'd think so, right? So Sam is trying to convince Henchman not to cut off the belt. Then Lady Doc's earring gets accidentally triggered by the harem, which starts shocking him. So then he starts begging Henchman to cut it off, leading to what is probably the funniest line in the movie.
I gotta tell you, you are one weird dude.
Henchman has the best lines. So it turns out Henchman was right. There's not a bomb. Until a couple seconds later when the bomb goes off. Okay. So, if the bomb wasn't meant to blow up when somebody attempts to remove it, but several seconds after the attempt is successful, what's the point of the bomb? Frog Lady rushes in to save Sam, but Henchman shows back up and kills her before Sam kills him. Lady Doctor is dragged before Toadie, and he demands that she dances, which leads to another line that I just think is well delivered.
Modern or ballet?
The dance of the 3 snakes.
She decides to interpret that as, do your sexiest dance. This is the sexy dance of my people. Do you feel the sexy? This is the sexy dance. That was probably the most obscure reference I've ever made in this show. I'm so sorry. While she's dancing, Looney manages to get to the top of the harem and fire off the flare gun. Looney briefly teamed up with Frog Lady earlier before she rescued Sam, but I don't remember Sam telling either one of them about the flare gun, but whatever. Back at Toadie's lair, we finally get a very clear feeling for what the 3 snakes are. Luckily, the movie doesn't actually show them to us.
You have aroused the 3 snakes.
Instead, Lady Doctor announces in no uncertain terms that she's not going anywhere near those things before she runs right up to them and kicks each one of them in order.
I just thought of some new steps.
That's when Sam bursts in to save the day. I guess I should probably point out by this point in the movie we're just supposed to accept that Sam and Lady Doc are in love. Just FYI, there were several moments of take off the glasses, let down your hair. And then instantly he was all about her. So they break out the harem with Looney's help and everybody escapes in the pink getaway van, and now we're basically doing a Fury Road. Sam and Lady Doc and Lady Soldier are taking the brides and driving away. Sadly, Looney doesn't make it.
I sure hope the heavens is good.
Then we get some road battling with Toady and his men because we Fury Road now. And I know it sounds like I'm implying this movie ripped off Fury Road. It didn't, because it came out way before Fury Road, and I am not implying Fury Road ripped this off. I just think there's some... It's interesting the number of parallels in this moment is the joke. Jokes are funny when you explain them. It looks like they're finally going to get away when suddenly a rocket explodes in front of the car, and they decide to stop rather than keep going. We see them slam on the brakes. The rocket didn't create a hole. They could have kept going, but fine. So I don't normally point this out, but before we get to the third act of the movie, which is what's about to start here, I want to point out there are 11 minutes left in this movie. I need you to realize that everything that happens from this moment to the end of this review happens in 11 minutes. You ready? It turns out the rocket was fired by Angry Father, and he goes off on an angry diatribe about how, after the war, there's too many women around running too many things, and it should be a man's world, and he's the one who's been buying the uranium from Frogtown. Remember that? I don't. And he has a group of scientists building nuclear weapons for him, and soon he will rule the world. How this guy is accomplishing all this on his whatever minor military man budget he's got, I don't know. How's Sam going to get out of this? Well, one plot point I failed to mention early on is that all of the harem girls are from an order of religious pacifism. I failed to mention it because it's brought up very, very briefly. Anyway, this is why none of them tried to escape on their own, except that one that did, but let's not worry about her. So when Sam asks one of the brides to hand him his sword, because the sword's here and he can't apparently reach it for some reason, she refuses because she's a pacifist. Then he says, "Pretty please," and... so many questions. Why was his sword where he couldn't get at it? She only moved it a couple of inches. Why didn't the guy fire when he saw two people working together to draw a sword? Also, I'd argue that moving a sword a couple of inches is not a violation of pacifism. She didn't attack anybody. She slightly rearranged some clothing. Anyway, also, Angry Dad is not dead yet, just FYI. Sam decides it's time to finish this, and he tells Lady Doc to wait for him in the car with the others while he follows the trail of red acrylic paint that we're supposed to believe is blood. Sam is super dumb, and he falls for a fake dead body scam, rather than shooting the corpse in the head to be sure, checking for a pulse, or doing anything other than nudging it with his boot and walking away. But when Angry Dad gets up and turns around to fire a rocket launcher at point-blank range, Sam shoots first, and our big bad is dead. That was the big bad of the movie, right? That's what I was supposed to learn in the last 2 minutes? Oh, that's right! They were on the run from Toady, who was right behind them and has now had time to catch up. So the van is blown up, and despite the fact that there are no bodies among the Marines, we're supposed to believe that all of the girls are dead. Sam gets the drop on Toady and allows all of Toady's men to run away before trying to blow up Toady, but the rocket launcher is defective, which makes his quick draw earlier against the Angry Dad kind of less impressive. So Kirk and the Gorn fight in the desert, and of course our hero manages to win eventually. Evil has been destroyed. But at what cost? What of the women? The fertile women? And Sam's true love that he's known for a couple of days. Oh, they were hiding behind some rocks the whole time, including the actual soldier who could have helped him win either fight against either of the two big bad guys, but no. Sam and Lady Doc kiss, because remember they're in love now, but Lady Doc says they can't be together because Sam has to save himself for the Fertiles, to which Sam replies, "I've got enough." Lady Doc decides to shock him back into line, only to find that he doesn't have the device anymore. But now she's confused. Why didn't he run away when he could have? Why did he try to save her? It must be love. We end with the Lady Doc telling Sam that the two of them can have a nice vacation together after he finishes his duties, which is impregnating all these women, which he still seems really upset about. The end. Let's start with, I like this movie. I do. It's silly. It's not smart. But it is a fun adventure. There are some decent lines. Everybody is committed. Everybody is doing their best performance. The frog special effects aren't terrible. They don't pull you out of the experience like I really thought they would. Admittedly, I'll point this out. There are two types of frog. There's the ones with the heads that you mostly saw, but you'll notice most of the extras have their face completely covered. They're wearing goggles and then like a face hoodie over the goggles and then like a beekeeper's hat over all of that because they couldn't afford, obviously, these high-quality frog masks. But still, the special effects are decent. The fertility stuff is weird, right? It's handled very strange. Like I said, the whole idea of putting fertile men in danger is weird. And Sam being the world's most reluctant, world-famous lover is very strange. I guess we're meant to like him more because of it. Like, if he was lecherous, we'd like him less. Although, I'm just confused by everybody going, he's the world's greatest lover. And him going, I've got a headache. I have several headaches. I always have headaches. Please don't touch my penis. The angry dad plot that pops up at the end is very strange. Like, that 11-minute warning I gave you contains half the plot of the movie. It's very weird how much they crammed into a very tight period of time. They introduced and ended an entire world domination plot in that 11 minutes, and then went back to the main plot of escaping from Toady and Frogtown's minions. But guess what? Guess. There's 2 more movies in this series. I haven't seen them yet, but I will. And the third movie in this series, the director didn't write a script for. He wanted to try a different style of filmmaking called Zen filmmaking, where all of the actors made up the plot and dialogue as they shot the movie. It's gonna be so bad. It is very possible that we're gonna return to Frogtown sometime in the future. I am very excited. I'll see you guys next time. I gotta be honest, she's a bit bony for me. Might cut that line. Don't need to know about the bony.